some business, and we made that phone call. So we will pick back up with what are a few of our favorite things. We discussed being fully self-contained for a few days and being able to find that time to play in between loads. That's really important for us. The diversity in freight and where we pick up and deliver. It's always somewhere new. It's always something new. To me, it's almost like Christmas.
It is almost like Christmas.
Like, ooh, where are we picking up?
Right.
How exciting. What are we hauling?
Yeah.
I really like the loads where you don't know what you're hauling. Like,
The BOL says the dimensions of the pallets you're hauling.
I mean, you can guess what you're hauling because you can kind of see,
Right,
but
right.
you don't really haul.
I've got 6 pallets, 48 by 48. Yeah. Well, yeah, that's thanks BOL.
So our third thing that because we just said kind of top 3, being able to pick and choose where you want to go. So where you want to pick up, where you want to deliver, of course, within a set of limits. So, you gotta have some limits. You can't just decline every load and say, I just want to go Florida to Florida. However, I'd really like to do that.
I know you would. I know you would. Especially in the wintertime when it's cold as...
Can we just do Atlanta to Florida?
Yeah, right. Just stay in the warm
Florida
weather
to
climates.
Yuma.
Not deal with the snow.
Florida
and
to LA.
the blizzards
LA to Florida.
and the wind.
At any rate, that's one of my favorite things is being able to pick and choose where you want to go. So for us, if we want to go... maybe explore a city, New York, for example. When we went to New York, we had opportunity weeks prior to the load that we took.
Mm-hmm.
We chose not to take it for 2 reasons. I can't remember the second one. Let me go with the first one.
Yeah, go with the first one.
It didn't pick up for 2 days
Yeah.
from the time that they offered it to us. We didn't want to wait that long. And maybe 2 is we weren't quite experienced and ready to take it. So maybe those are 2 reasons.
I think
That was our first time we were offered New York, but this last time we took it because we wanted to go see what it was about and experience it and give it a shot.
I think a part of it too, on that first New York load, was they weren't willing to offer anything additional other than what they were offering for pick up in 2 days and deliver in New York, which meant we would have sat for 2 days.
Not making money.
Not making money. And
Yeah.
we don't make any money unless the wheels are turning or unless they decide they want to pay layover pay,
Right.
which really doesn't cover what we need to make in the course of a day to lay over. So I think that's one reason why we turned it down as well.
So moving on to our third segment, other questions from viewers. We've had some other questions from some viewers, some emails. And one of them is, what is the pay difference between FedEx Custom Critical versus Panther?
Yeah, so we don't have experience with FedEx Custom Critical. We've only driven for Panther, so we can talk to it from the perspective of Panther. Panther pays a flat rate per mile. So they base that also on the endorsements that you hold. Melissa and I both hold a tanker endorsement and a hazmat endorsement. So to the truck, Panther pays $1.35 a mile flat rate. Okay? Loaded miles. Deadhead miles, they pay 31 cents per mile for our deadhead miles. Deadhead miles are miles that we drive from where we're at sitting right now when we get a dispatch to our pickup, okay? Now, the best part about that is that we can negotiate our deadhead miles. We can say, we got
300 miles.
300 miles of deadhead miles. That's going to take us 6 hours to drive. Is it worth it for us to drive 600 miles for 31 cents a mile?
We did 300 miles.
300 miles, 6 hours for 31 cents a mile? Probably not.
No.
But
because
I just said but and you said because.
That's okay. Go ahead.
But if they need us, our truck, to drive 300 miles of deadhead miles,
because maybe not only our endorsements, but the special equipment that's needed,
then we start to negotiate, which gets us into the title of our video. Don't leave money on the table. With Panther, if you're gonna deadhead 300 miles, they need your truck for some reason.
Liftgate,
pallet jack, capacity.
my endorsement.
Our endorsements, yes.
Yes.
Or load capacity.
Yep.
We've got 2 rear axles.
Length of truck, because we're the larger truck.
We can carry more capacity than a smaller truck, or even the same size truck with only 1 rear axle. Length of our trailer, they might need to load us a little more. They might have 10 pallets they want to put on our truck, which a smaller truck can't handle. So that's when we start to say, okay, well, now it's time to negotiate. You need me at this shipper 300 miles away for a particular reason. You don't have a truck closer that can handle the capacity or can handle a hazmat load or needs a lift gate. So it sets off alarm bells in our head and says, okay, we need to negotiate for more on this load. So
more than 30 cents.
More than 30 cents a mile for our deadhead miles. So we start to negotiate for what that looks like. If it takes us 6 hours to run 300 miles, that's half a shift, right? So we, as a team, we generally look at when we schedule or when we plan our loads, we look at running 500 miles per shift. Doesn't mean that that's all we can run, but when it comes to traffic or other things that are beyond our control, we look at 500 miles per shift. Can we run 600 miles per shift? Yeah, easy, no problem. Again, as long as there's no traffic, there's no rush hour traffic through Los Angeles, there are no accidents on the road that are kind of the highway shut down.
Road construction.
600 miles per shift is not a problem.
We just do 500.
My longest so far shift is 668 miles.
Are you giving a shout out to yourself for yesterday?
Yeah, I'm kind of patting myself on the back for yesterday. In a speed governed truck that's at 65 miles an hour, with 16 minutes left on my 14-hour clock, or my 11-hour clock. 668.7 miles. But anyway, aside from that, we plan our shifts at 500 miles per shift. It gives us a nice buffer when we do run over that 500 miles. So if you're looking at running me 300 miles a deadhead, you need me for a reason.
So don't leave money on the table.
Because we're going to look at what that looks like for us. And we're going to negotiate for a higher rate for our deadhead. Because it's going to take us time to run that mileage. We have, and for our business, we have a per day dollar amount that we like to be able to see coming into the truck, so that we're not spending our time driving and making less money.
Right.
Hopefully that makes sense to you folks.
Another place you can not leave money on the table?
Another place is if you're going to a place, if your load picks up in a certain location, let's say BFE.
South Dakota.
South Dakota's BFE,
That's where we're delivering.
Oh, we're delivering to BFE or picking up in BFE?
No, we're going to deliver.
The pickup doesn't matter.
Right, it's delivery.
The delivery matters. If we're going to deliver in BFE,
right,
South Dakota, where we know that Panther has 0 loads a day and there is no freight shipping from South Dakota, we don't want to get stuck there.
Mm-mm.
We don't want to have to ask for an empty move, paying again 30 cents a mile to move somewhere else where there is more freight. We want to up front get out of South Dakota, so we might ask for an empty move to Minneapolis, maybe Chicago preferably, where we know there are a lot more loads a day, and we're going to ask up front before we accept a load for help, air quotes, getting out of South Dakota. If the dispatcher doesn't understand the phrase, "Can you help us get out of South Dakota?" then we'll use the really hated word at Panther, bonus. We're going to ask for a relocation bonus getting out of South Dakota to Chicago. And again, we're going to start, if it's from South Dakota to Chicago, oh hey, there's Annie. We're going to ask for full rate. We're going to ask for that full rate getting out, and we'll negotiate. They might counter with, hey, we'll give you 75 cents a mile to get out, and we're going to counter with $1, and we're going to find a happy medium to get out. Worst case scenario, if they say no, well, we say no. As independent contractors, we have that ability and that right to say no to a load. if
Are you
they
leaving
really
one?
need,
Oh, go ahead.
if they really need us to take that load, they're gonna find, we're gonna find a happy medium between the two of our numbers, and we're gonna find a happy medium.
What works for our business?
What works for our
What works
business
for
and works
obviously
Panther's business.
Panther's business or the shipper's business.
The important thing here is not to leave money on the table. A load going to South Dakota might have a ton
Not that
of
we've
miles
ever been
on
to
it.
South Dakota, just
We
for the
haven't.
record.
Yeah, we haven't. But a load going to South Dakota might have a ton of miles on it and pay great on a loaded mile basis. But if we're stuck in South Dakota for 3 days, well, how much is that? Those miles really helped us. So the important thing here is to not leave money on the table, to ask for that bonus or that help up front, because the worst case scenario is they say no. If they call you and offer you a load, or if they send you a load over your QC and it's got, well, let me back up a little bit. If they send you a load over QC or they call you with a load and you ask for help getting out of an area or getting to an area, worst case scenario is they say no. They're not going to pull the load off you because you asked for more help. But if you don't ask for help, generally speaking, they're not going to offer you any help. We've received loads where they've said, hey, we got a load, this last load, matter of fact, where we were delivering in Hollywood, Florida, and not that load, not the tag team load, where we delivered in Hollywood, Florida, and we picked up in Orlando. We were offered help on the deadhead getting to Orlando. That happens sometimes. They recognize that we don't want to drive 200 miles for free. So they'll offer you help up front. Doesn't mean you can't ask for more. You can't counter offer, but there are certain times when they'll offer you help up front. But if you ask for a bonus or you ask for help getting somewhere and they say no, they're not going to pull the load from you until you say no. So it doesn't hurt.
Don't be afraid to ask.
Yeah, don't be afraid to ask. If you don't ask, there's money that you're leaving all over the table that you could have in your pocket. So it's important that you ask for that experience, that load.
Yeah. So that's it. That's what we want to talk about on this one. Kind of gave a recap of what some viewers wanted to hear from us. We felt it was really important to describe a little more about not leaving money on the table. That's kind of a big one out here for Panther, for us. That's really big when we get a load offered to us. We immediately start looking, how much is the deadhead, where are we going to end up, and then we as a partnership start talking about what that looks for us for numbers and how we want to run it.
And there are times when a load offer comes across and we don't negotiate. We take the load offer because it's solid. You know, if we're going to a good freight area, there's nothing extra there. So there are times when we don't look at that, but it's important to understand all the parameters of the load you're being offered and whether there is money there to be had. So
don't be afraid to ask. The worst they can say is no. The worst you can say is no, thank you. I don't want the load. Don't leave money on the table.
We're gonna leave you here with the rest of our dance party, because that truck across the way, I mean, man, that dude's having a party in his truck.
Remember to like and subscribe so you can know when we're coming out with our next video. And wait, hashtag Highfield Family.
Hashtag Highfield Family, no doubt.
And don't
leave
money on the table.
Don't do it. It's there for you. Take your money. Get paid. Get paid.
Like and subscribe.